So okay. Explain to me the rules.
So it's I think the idea is just pick just based on vibes, you pick a movie that's not a video game adaptation, so you can't do the Super Mario Brothers movie for Mario.
Right.
A movie to represent each. Let's do OG Smash Bros, and then if that's like really quick, we can include the Melee characters. Maybe we can do that.
Okay. So the OG Smash Bros roster.
Yes.
We got.
Okay, I can start with the ones that I gave.
Okay.
So yeah, I had a couple that were, I swear this is just like not the week to record. We're just like not meant to record. There's just so much shit going on. Okay, my first couple are pretty on the nose. I did King Kong for Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And then I did Aliens for Samus, or Alien.
Okay.
Because
the Ripley character is sort of like Samus.
Yeah. Well, Metroid was directly inspired by
also that
Alien. Yeah. Because Ridley is named after Ridley Scott, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
What's that I have from OG? Captain Falcon, I did Redline. I was just trying to think of like, I could see it being Speed Racer too. Redline's just a racing anime.
Okay.
Actually, those are the only ones I have from OG. All the rest of them were from future installments. So I didn't do Mario or Luigi. Ness could fully be Akira.
Mac and me. Oh, okay.
Mac and me.
Well, no, he's not on a wheelchair. Never mind. Yeah. Ness could be that. Because there's plenty of movies where like, you know what? Actually, I haven't seen it, but knowing the story of Earthbound, I feel like The Goonies would be a good like adaptation of the Earthbound games, because it's you kind of have like a party, right? There's like a group of kids, and they're all different, you know, like and they all kind of unite over a common goal. I don't know.
Definitely that like 80s, 80s like kid adventure.
Yeah, and the Earthbound games are like 100% sort of like a loving satirical look at like 80s American culture. Like there's like the Blues Brothers in Earthbound.
Oh yeah, I know those. I've seen those characters.
Like the Runaway Five is what they're called, but they're very much like a stand-in for like the Blues Brothers. There's like there's so many like Beatles references in Earthbound too, so it's just like everything. I mean, if we're doing animation and cartoons for Link, I would almost say Princess Mononoke.
I mean, it's got to be Princess Mononoke. Yeah,
it's like, especially with like the way that like Breath of the Wild looks and that art style. Like,
oh yeah, true. Yeah. No, I've always, and I think they came out the same year. Mononoke and Ocarina of Time are just they're like linked in my brain. So
that's cool.
So I didn't even, that pun was completely unintentional. I didn't even realize.
I didn't even catch it.
So yeah, it's 100% has to be Princess Mononoke. Honestly, Mario and Luigi are kind of, I don't know. Let's go with like, I don't want to just say like Goodfellas or some like, they're not gangsters. Little Italy, maybe.
Little. They're like the two parents of Hayden Christensen and Emma Roberts. Like they're the feuding brothers or former business partners.
Yeah, I could see that. There was a Luigi in that movie too.
That's true. Yeah. The rest are tough because they're like animals or creatures. Animals. Yeah. Like I don't know. I feel like you could do a human adaptation or a human movie for Fox, because he's like, because it's like I mean, you could almost do like Star Wars.
Yeah, kind of.
Like Fox could be like a Luke Skywalker stand-in.
Sure.
He's got I forget what,
or Han Solo.
His dad is dead, but then it's like he's actually not dead and he doesn't know, something like that. Andros is like a good like Palpatine
Sure,
stand-in.
yeah.
I mean, Han
Giant
Solo
face.
could be Falco. Or I don't
Wait.
know the other characters. There's like
Oh,
Falco,
Falco.
there's
I was-
Peppy,
Yeah. Peppy,
and then there's the frog.
Slippy. Yeah.
Slippy, that's right.
Slippy Toad. Even though he is a frog. Yeah.
And then Crystal from Star Fox Adventures could be Leia.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, honestly, Kirby and Jigglypuff are the hardest.
Yeah.
It's like how do you translate it to like anything else? Like even like an animal movie. I don't know.
Pikachu Mouse Hunt. Nathan
oh hell
Lane.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because it is a very slippery mouse that causes a lot of destruction.
No, that is good, yeah. Especially like in I mean, this is more like in the anime. That like Ash's Pikachu is very like
Defiant.
goes against the defiant. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah. So yeah, Mouse Hunt. Yeah, that's a good one. Kirby. Okay, he eats stuff. He eats a lot of stuff. I can't. All I'm thinking of is the Mr. Creosote from The Meaning of Life, but that's not the whole movie. Jigglypuff. Oh, it's a more recent one. Oh shoot, it's named after the person. It's based on a real life lady. Meryl Streep is in it. And
it came out recently?
Florence Foster Jenkins. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Maybe like within the last 10 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I believe the whole thing with her is she was like this rich like socialite lady who used her means to like give herself like musical I don't know, like a career or just like performances, but she like wasn't that good actually.
Yeah, it's based on a real person, and according to Wikipedia, it says was an American socialite and amateur lyric soprano who became known and mocked for her flamboyant performance costumes and notably poor singing ability. So she just essentially like bought her way in. She was just like, I've got money, so I'm gonna be a singer.
Yeah.
Because like the whole thing with Jigglypuff is like everyone falls asleep when she sings, and so she like draws a marker on their face. So she's like a very very like, if you don't like my performance, I'm gonna punish you. Yeah,
I'm not accusing Florence Foster Jenkins of doing that, but it'd be funny if there's a scene in the Meryl Streep movie where she draws on people's faces
just draws X's on their eyes and like Kirby. I don't know what to do with Kirby.
Kirby and we're going with like, well, we didn't settle on. Could be that. What did I say? There's also for Yoshi. There was another one I was thinking of. Theodore Rex. Maybe that'd be a better one because that's about a dinosaur that's like friends with a person.
Oh,
it's got Whoopi Goldberg. Okay. Maybe that's my pick for Yoshi.
Oh my god, that is an insane. That looks like one of the dinosaurs from
the TV show.
Yes,
that's what I think of. Yeah, it might be Jim Henson. Very possible, because he did the show. So could be a Jim Henson thing.
Damn.
Kirby.
That's a good one. Kirby, someone who's gluttonous, someone who eats a lot and is like kind of lazy.
Kirby, he could be. Oh, this is turning into another thing. He could be Glutton from 7. And now we can just do the Smash Bros. Characters as the seven deadly sins from 7.
Sins.
Yeah.
DK is Wrath, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
So Kirby's
Jigglypuff could be Envy.
Ooh, yeah.
No, Kirby is Gluttony.
Kirby's
or is that
glutton.
the same thing? The Gluttony and Sloth is a different thing. Right?
Sloth is like lazy.
Right.
Which I would say maybe
Luigi.
I would say
He's-
Mario or Luigi.
Yeah. Even though they're not, it's tough because they're all like,
Well, I mean,
video
if you're
game
playing Mario
protagonists, but
64 and like his
That's kinda what
idle
I'm thinking of, like,
animation, he eventually
yeah.
falls asleep.
Mhm. He's Sloth. I can never remember all 7. I always like forget one.
There's
Envy.
Pride.
Pride. Oh shit, that could be Jigglypuff too.
Yeah, I was almost thinking
say-
Pride could be like Captain Falcon because his taunt is like, "Show me your moves."
Yeah, he could totally be Pride. Yeah, maybe he's Pride. So Donkey Kong is
Dude,
Kevin
Kirby-
Spacey.
Kirby could have so many deadly sins because he could also have greed because he just eats everything.
Right? Yeah, Greed's another one. Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Who's Lust?
I don't want to just say Samus because she's the girl, but yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
sexist, isn't it? Because Lust, Fox, maybe.
Yeah, he's kind of a player.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah.
What he said? We said DK for Wrath,
Yeah,
Pride, Greed, Wrath, Envy, Lust, Gluttony.
the DK Wrath.
The DK. Yeah, if we open this up to like the ultimate roster.
Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
that took us long enough. Like, and that was 12 characters.
Yeah.
I want to know how many. Yeah, there's so many people in Ultimate.
Freaking Steve from Minecraft is in it.
Oh yeah, what would Steve be? Oh wait, no, I had one for Steve. That's right. I did the house that Jack built. I did pick one for him.
God. Yeah, because I mean, there's definitely like villains in the roster. So like, for the 7 deadly sins, you could do like Wario and like Ganondorf and Bowser. They all are
Oh,
pretty
yeah, 100%.
representative. Sephiroth,
Mm-hmm.
King K. Rool. There's a lot of villains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, weird. Yeah, but like none in the first one. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
I guess technically DK is like a villain. Like his first appearance is
I suppose,
he
yeah.
kidnapped Pauline.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true.
But if you're playing Donkey Kong Jr., Mario's the villain. So I don't know. It's all a matter of
Right, yeah.
perspective, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of ThereWillBeDuds. This is episode 181. And I'm your co-host, TJ. And with me as always.
As always, I'm Nick.
And as always, we watched a movie. That movie this week being An Autumn Afternoon from 1962, directed by Yasujiro Ozu. It follows an aging widower who still lives with 2 of his 3 adult children. And he, just through, I guess, a series of interactions with other families in his circle, he makes the decision that he wants to marry his daughter off so that she's not stuck having to take care of him in old age. It's that's mostly it.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny when it, like the whole thing is they're like doing like an arranged marriage to marry her off, but it's like his intentions are, he's like, well, I'm trying to do it because I don't want her to be stuck with me. He's trying, it's like supposed to be selfless, and I'm not saying that like it's not, it is just like all this is like cultural thing, like the kid's still being with him when they're like, she's like 25 years old or whatever. It's just like culturally stuff, like I think a lot of times kids over there like do that, they'd stay and they just kind of become their parents' caretakers, and he's trying to be like more selfless, like, no, I want you to like live your own life and take care of somebody else instead. Kind of.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I don't know if America was ever like this. It might have been like a long time ago, but like the whole idea of like intergenerational households where it's like the
Mhm.
grandparents and the parents and the kids like all live together under the same roof and they all like share meals together and like take care of each other, etc., etc. Like that is like so foreign to me like now. Whereas like my parents didn't care. Like I lived with them till I was like 21 or 22 before I like kind of went out and moved out on my own for the first time.
Yeah, that's probably me
Um,
too.
but I know in some cases sometimes it's like with certain people it's like okay, you're 18, like get out of my house,
Mhm.
figure it out, go. Like I don't know. More broadly speaking, there's a very like highly individualistic culture in America
Mhm.
where it's like everyone's gotta you're like the
Yeah.
master of your own domain. You need to like get married, have a house, have kids, and like send them off, and then like the cycle just repeats, and there's no like you know familial unit. Everybody's just kind of
Mhm.
like spread out. So
Yeah.
watching this was like very I hard to like sort of empathize, I think, a little bit with some of them
Mhm.
where it's like okay, like you say you have like the best intentions for your daughter and you want her to be happy, but also it's just like, well, then stop talking about her like she's livestock, that she has like no agency
I
like
guess that's kind of what I
whatsoever.
mean. Yeah. Yeah.
Just like it's like, oh yeah, well, this guy's available. I'll set you up with him. Have
Mhm.
you ever met this person? Like the whole idea of like an arranged marriage is just again like so insane to me.
Yeah,
That
it
like
feels
the way that
so.
the way that they talk about women in this movie is like a little I was like part of it I'm like I bet this is like a cultural difference and I'm sure it's like maybe more normalized, but
Mhm.
it's like how are there not more like women family annihilators in Japan? Like how do they not just eventually snap and like all right,
Yeah.
well, I'm killing everyone in my family and then myself because this is unbearable.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like
I think
at no point do they
uh,
ask her what she wants to do, really.
yeah, right? Like there's yeah, I think that's kind of like more or less what I was getting at, that it's like it feels like the movie is, I don't know if I want to say like, I don't know if I want to like say that it's trying to be like progressive, but I feel like it's intention, it's another like good intentions sort of thing,
Yeah.
but just because of, yeah, the language it uses, possibly the cultural stuff, it feels very like regressive with how the subject matter is treated. And to where there's like the thing where she the Mr. Muira or whatever. I watched this a few days ago, but the guy who
Yeah.
comes to, I don't remember if he's working with the dad or if he's the one that I think he's the one that like sells off the clubs to the brother or whatever, the golf clubs. Um
Yeah.
and then they kind of like, you get that scene where they kind of like go and walk around about the city with each other, and she's clearly like interested in him, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, perfect, she's interested in this guy, we can, you know, arrange that marriage, we'll see if he's interested in her. But then it's like he's already engaged or he's married or something, and then they're
Yeah.
like, but it's just like a slight hindrance, and then they're like, oh well, let's, you can still get married to some other person. You know, sorry you couldn't be the one that you were interested in, but
Uh
there's another male in this city that you can marry.
yeah.
So it
Whatever you
felt
say,
like
it's going to happen.
to me that felt like that was maybe it was gonna change there, like where she, you know, where they found out that he was engaged. I was like, oh, okay, maybe she's not gonna get married. Maybe this is gonna go somewhere else. But then it's like just jump to her wedding day, getting married to somebody like we don't even know, and it's strange, very weird.
Yeah. That almost I don't know. That almost seems like the point or maybe like a point that Ozu was trying to make by the fact that like you never actually see other than I guess the golf club guy, but like you don't end up seeing at all
Mm.
who she marries. You don't even like I think you see her maybe the day of her wedding where she's like all like dolled
Dressed
up in
up
like
and
what
yeah.
maybe like ceremonial wedding garb.
Yeah, that's what I
I'm
figured,
guessing
yeah.
it was like very ornate.
Mhm.
But yeah, you don't even see the ceremony at all, which like this whole movie like building kind of like that's like the whole thing hinges on it, and it's like you don't even get like a like a romantic wedding or like a wedding ceremony. All you see is like the afterward where her dad
Mhm.
is still just like depressed as hell and just like getting plastered.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, so there's like all these other moments where like I really had trouble empathizing with the cultural differences and just the whole like, well, you don't want to have your daughter be a spinster or an old maid, so she has
Yeah.
to get married in her 20s to some dude she'll grow to resent, just like my wife. Like that stuff is like, yeah, that was like more challenging for me to like kind of wrap my head around. But the other things that I did sort of enjoy more, and I think maybe offer like a little bit of like an alternate perspective, was just like there are some really great scenes of like subtle sadness that I think are great, and like they're
Mm.
very understated. um one of the scenes with the gourd, one of their
Oh yeah,
friends,
I like that guy. Yeah.
he's like, I
He
don't know
looked like
what he
Grandpa
was to
Gohan
them.
from Dragon Ball Z. Or Dragon Ball.
I don't know. Like, I think they were like, are they like day traders? Are they stock guys, finance guys? I'm not
I'm that
entirely sure what they do.
I see
Business of
those
some
kind of
sort.
exactly. I see those kind of like settings, and it's like it's not the main point of it. I'm just like they're businessmen. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
But
enough.
he's like a former worker of theirs or employer of theirs, but
I
he's
think
kind
he
of like
was
on
their
his.
boss, or no? I think didn't he? Wasn't he their teacher? I thought he was their
That
teacher,
might have
like
been
at
it.
school.
That, yeah, because
Jones.
they're all like school friends.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, but there's like the scene where I think they're having like a reunion dinner with him,
Hmm.
and they are all just like constantly drinking. It's
Yeah.
made me think of like Another Round, where just like, is there a
Oh.
moment in this movie where any of them are like remotely sober at all? Because like I feel like in every scene there's just like bottles everywhere, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
sake
There's a
being
lot.
poured.
Yeah.
um but the scene of sadness that I was thinking of was like after they walk him home, and he's just like he's like he's doing I like his drunk acting where he's like talking like this, and then he'll just go like,
Yeah.
and then he'll lift his head up and he's like,
Mhm.
oh, he's like, where's my whiskey? The give me the fine whiskey. And they're like, you drank it in the car. And he's like, oh, I didn't I? And like he eventually just kind of passes out or falls asleep, and then like
Uh-huh.
the two guys that brought him there leave, and we hold on his daughter, and she's just sitting there, and then eventually she just like slowly puts her hands in her face and like
Mhm.
is weeping.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh. But is that, now that I'm saying it out loud, is that just reinforcing the idea of the movie where it's like, oh, I guess she should have gotten married?
I
Oh,
didn't think
shit,
about
maybe it
that.
is.
Maybe I didn't think about that.
Well, I think when I first saw that scene, I thought it was like his wife, because she's kind of like an
Oh.
older, she's like older-ish. I guess she's still probably, I
Well-
mean, if he's her father, then she's probably like at least
She
like
could
30
be
years
like
younger.
she could be like the closer to the same age as like the main guy, because if that guy was
Yeah.
their teacher, he's a generation above them, which is
Yeah.
weird. At first I thought that he was like the same age as the main guy, just kind of he looked older, I guess, but I think
Yeah.
that he was maybe supposed to be a little bit younger than he looked.
Mhm.
Maybe like mid late 40s, but I think he was like almost 60, like the actor was. So
Yeah.
that maybe that like added some confusion, because it did take me a little bit to kind of put that like, okay, wait, okay, so he's younger than this guy. That's kind of what I figured. I figured his daughter was maybe like roughly the age of the main guy.
Yeah.
I do kind of think that's it, or at least that's what the main character gleans from it, is like, because I think the bulk of the movie with him is he's just kind of seeing these other family dynamics, and that's what like kind of pushes him to the decision to
Mhm.
get his daughter married. And I do think that to him, at least, that was the conclusion that he came to, is that like she's sad and unfulfilled because she didn't get married and is stuck caring for her dad. Like the fact that like a woman living alone is not even like an option here, you know? It's like they have to be like either married or living with their parents. They can't just be on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like that was tough to like wrap my head around or get behind. The idea is just like, okay, well there's like a third option, and it's I don't get married, but I go and live on my own. And it's like, how would you support yourself? It's like I would get a job. But I think it's very, very strict gender roles where it's like, I'm the man, I go to my business job, I provide all of the money, and you wait on me hand and foot all the time. Like even all of like the family dynamic scenes with like the dad and like the younger brother, who's I would say is kind of like he seems like a like oafish.
Yeah.
Like kind of he's kind of like a fail son. Yeah. Where like even he is telling his sister like, hey, make me food, or like make me dinner, like what are you doing? And I'm just like, that's your sister, that's not even your wife. Like just because like she's a woman, so therefore inherently like, go get me tea, go fetch me this, go make my bed, what are you talking about? That shit is so. And like there's a few moments where the dad is like, no, go like get your own food, like make your own bed. He like kind of sticks up for her a little bit. It's so funny that he is like so agonized, and like it's like so painful for him to just like lightly reject these like strict gender norms. Like he's having like an existential crisis about his daughter like not being married to someone who's like gonna treat her like shit, because that's just how it works.
Yeah. And I think that my like the issue with that is it's difficult to not having seen any of this director's other movies, and not not reading up about like history of this movie, or his views otherwise. I don't know if this movie is like, if it's like that intentionally to highlight these issues with like those gender norms, or is it just, this is how it is and this is normal and this is okay. And I don't know, is it being critical of those, or is it just, or is it not, and it's just presenting them because that's what it's like there? If it is like being critical and kind of like going at it from that angle, that that gives it a little bit more, I guess, value in my eyes. But because if it's not, it's like, then it just kind of makes me feel just weird, because even when you get down to it with that, again, the main conflict of him struggling with the decision of like, do I marry my daughter off or not, it's like the emotional like decision that he has to make, that he comes to, is not like, oh, I'm going to miss my daughter because I love her and I'm going to miss her company, and that it's, I'm not going to have a servant anymore, is what it feels like. And I'm not saying I don't think that guy had no love for his daughter. I think he cared for his children, but the way that it kind of covers that angle of him with making that decision, it seems like it's a more from like a utilitarian perspective of like, well, I am getting older, so do I care more about that, or do I let my child have her own life? or
because
somewhat,
because the scene, there are many scenes where like after he finally decides to like, all right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get her married because like this is important, everyone is just like who's gonna take care of you and your son? Who's gonna take care of you? Who's gonna take care of you? And it's just, and they're always just like, oh, we'll manage. And it sounds like someone died. They're talking about it like your caretaker died.
Right.
And it's just like, I don't know, make your own dinner. Jesus. You go out enough, just do that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Go get drunk with your other dipshit friends. Like the opening scene, and like that, his like coworker or friend with like the glasses, I hated that guy. He's such a shithead.
Yeah.
Like, and like their dynamic sort of made me think of like the three girls from like the White Lotus, where like as soon as one of the guys like left or went, like just like, all right, well, I'm packing up for the evening. I'll see you guys later. As soon as one person left, one of the guys would like look at the other and be like, what was that about? What's going on? Like immediately started talking shit about each other when one of the guys was like out of earshot, like playing pranks. That was kind of charming. That was kind of fun when they were like talking about like, oh yeah, don't you hear he died? He had high blood pressure because he was taking
that was
pills.
Funny. Yeah, the way that and they were like messing with that lady. Yeah. That was funny. Yeah. I think overall it was like, you know, whether it's because of the weird stuff that, you know, what we've been talking about, or just the filmmaking and it being kind of like, I don't like stale, I guess, even though I know that is this director's like style. That like I didn't find it really like emotionally resonant, but it wasn't like a slog to get through, because I felt like each like individual conversation that you witnessed was like enjoyable. It was like fun. I mean fun even seems like a bit of the wrong adjective to describe it, but like I didn't have a bad time like just watching people just kind of talk about whatever, even if, you know, the overall thing I wasn't like didn't really care much about, and like I don't think those like emotional beats really hit. I think the last shot kind of worked a little bit for me, where it's like silent and he like goes to like his like table, and I think he like makes himself some tea or something, and there's like no words or anything. It's just him, and it's kind of like a long shot, and then he just kind of sits down, and I like that. That was cool. That was maybe the most, you know, it wasn't a moment of like, oh man, oh that's so, you know, that got me. But I was like, you know, I felt a little bit. But then before that, you get the whole, and it's a little unfair because I know this movie is much older. Maybe this is before, this is more of a thing. But there's, after she gets married, it does a thing where it's like a series of shots of empty rooms in the house. I'm like, I know what it's going for here. I know what this is doing, but I've seen this before. And also, I don't really care about these characters, so this does nothing for me. I get what it's doing, but I personally, it didn't do anything for me.
Oh, did somebody get addicted to unpaid labor? Oh, like, dude, it's so funny that we both sort of have this feeling about this movie, because like looking at Letterboxd and all the other reviews, this is like considered a masterpiece.
I know,
this
man.
Is like there's like, I don't think there's any review like under 4 stars that I'm seeing.
Well, there's
like,
gonna be one now.
Yeah, and maybe that's my own hangups. Like I can't get over the outdated cultural like I think my first note was like this every conversation in this movie is like my personal hell. It's just like, it's all just like empty pleasantries and then just like because like luckily my parents aren't too bad about this, about like, when are you getting married, when are you gonna have kids, when are you gonna have kids, when's that gonna happen? Because some people that I know that like my age that like they don't have kids yet, their parents are insane about shit. Or like grandparents, like grandparents, they were like, when are you going to have a baby? Or I guess normal parents, yeah, they want to become grandparents. It's like because they want to have the joy of like raising a baby again, but having to not do anything else,
any of the hard work.
Just like I get to hang out with this baby when it's like super cute, and then when it's like shitting up its own back out of its diaper and screaming and crying, that's you're fine with that. That's your problem. But I'll hang out with this baby during like the cool shit for like a couple hours a day, and it's, I don't know. That's maybe a very cynical look at like the motivations that parents have to become grandparents, but like.
No, I mean, I think that
switches a flip in your. It flips a switch in your brain,
I think
and
really
you become
does.
an insane person.
Yeah,
So just
Yeah,
like
no,
the pressure to get married, the pressure to have kids. I'm like, bitch, I can't afford that shit. You want to like
I know,
give me
man.
some money?
Baby brain is a real thing. People get baby brain.
Ugh.
It's weird. Yeah, I mean, money is one thing. There's plenty of other reasons to not have kids, in my opinion. But yeah, money, like
I mean,
alone,
yeah,
like
yeah.
from a purely practical standpoint, like yeah, don't even fib yourself. Like it's so unpractical to like raise, and literally in today's economy,
Dude, yeah.
No, that I was literally gonna, I meant to mention that earlier too, that yeah, they had like a couple conversations about like, it wasn't like super frequently brought up, but they did bring up a couple times like, oh, how old were you, or how old were your parents when they had you, or should we have a baby now, should we, or whatever. I'm just like, I really don't care about that. Like personally, like I have never felt the need to, I like, as far as like what it means to my relationship with my wife, I didn't need to get married to like make that more real.
Yes.
Or anything like that. And so like one thing, marriage doesn't matter to me in the way that it does a lot to a lot of people. But
It's
even more,
it's a tax deduction. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. It's like it is a nice little tax break, yeah. And you can say the same thing about having kids, but yeah, no, even less so with like baby talk. I'm like, I don't fucking give a shit about having a baby. I don't want to. I don't care that other people want to. It's like, it's such a non-factor to me. Like it's okay that other people have babies. I'm not saying that, but I mean, like that's like, again, like in the like watching this movie, I'm like, it's you guys, it's not that important. If you're not ready for kids, don't have a kid. Don't do it because you feel pressured to. That's not a good reason.
Yeah, exactly. But again, that's like, I mean,
speaking of, my kids knocked over my grimace egg. That's what I gotta do.
I mean, but before we started recording, we were talking.
You bastard.
Wait, what were you? I totally blanked on what I was gonna say.
Shit, sorry.
Shit.
Before we were recording, family stuff is dumb. Babies are dumb.
Yeah, yeah. You just, yeah, like you said, like simply just having kids for the sake of, like, that's just what you're supposed to do, is like a terrible reason to like have kids. It should be some. Oh, it was Idiocracy. That's what it was. I mentioned,
okay, yeah,
because we were talking about the ChatGPT article about like students using that, and I mentioned, oh, it's like Idiocracy, but like the beginning of that movie is,
I think
like,
about that all the time.
It's like the super well educated, high salary people are like, oh, we're just not sure if it's the right time to have kids, and
we'll wait,
and blah 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 blah. And then she's like, I got some like eggs fertilized, just in case we want to do it. And then it hard cuts to like a bunch of like, for lack of a better term, like white trash people, like that are just like, yeah, they're like hillbilly rednecks, and they're just like, every time it cuts back to them, they have like 2 more kids, to the point where they're just like,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, we don't ever use protection. Oh, we got another one right over. And so it's just like the whole, like, it's kind of like, it almost seems like a eugenics argument, just like dumb people shouldn't procreate. But the idea of just like, just by virtue of like having a kid doesn't make you like better than anybody else,
right?
Or, like,
yeah,
make you a more productive member of society, because that's the thing that you're supposed to do,
right?
I don't know. I could rant about this forever.
Yeah.
Like the whole idea of like, it's like, hey, well, how about you make an economy again where it's like, I can get a house for $40,000 on one income, and I can get a 2-car garage and like have all of these things for the American dream. Because now it doesn't really work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all these, I'm like channeling my inner George Carlin, but like he has that bit about like, it's like all the people who like are gung-ho about abortion will also vote against every other sort of like government aid. It's like no more, they'll vote against food stamps, they'll vote against this, they'll vote against that. And I think his bit, he's like, they don't give a shit about you until you reach military age. It's like they want live babies so they can raise them to be dead soldiers. Man, George Carlin rocks. I love him.
Damn. That's hard. That's a hard line. That's a bar.
Oh yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as like, I don't know. I think this is this guy's vibe. Is this just like really slow, quiet? Maybe he's the one that there's a lot of. I feel like that's a Japanese thing. Not that they're the only ones that make that like slow cinema, but I know that is. You get a lot coming out from like East Asia, just these like slow, kind of moody ones. And I wonder if I bet a lot of the like modern people probably draw a lot of inspiration from this guy because he was like one of the big ones alongside Kurosawa.
Yeah.
Like he was a huge filmmaker. Like you said, this one's considered a masterpiece. This isn't even like his biggest, like the one that I've heard about the most is Tokyo Story. And I do still want to give that one a try at least, but then maybe if that one also doesn't work for me, I'll be like, all right, maybe this guy's just not for me, not my style or whatever. Weird.
Yeah, I definitely want to see Tokyo Story.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I still want to see that, and not only because it's like it's the big one, but also just I just want to give him another chance, you know. Right. Even though I didn't like super like this one. But I will say I remember like in like, well, because originally we were supposed to record like a few days ago, so I watched it like that day or the day before or whatever. Okay. And I do remember thinking like I'm not really in the mood for this right now at this moment. And I do think that a movie like this you have to be in the mood for it. Because well, I don't know. I guess I kind of was, because like a week before I finally got around to watching Perfect Days, the new Wim Wenders movie, which is like very similar in terms of like it's so slow and so quiet. It centers around this guy who cleans. He's like he cleans like public toilets, and the entire movie is like you're basically just following him for a week as he cleans toilets and has some interactions with people here and there. There's no story. The guy barely talks, and it's great. I really like that movie. I would say I loved it. I thought it was a really great movie. Very, very. This is guy whose only other Wim Wenders movie is Paris, Texas. It's like it gave me a lot of Paris, Texas vibes.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of shots in Paris, Texas that are just like landscapes. I feel like we don't hear like Harry Dean Stanton speak for the first time until we're like
with Dean Stockwell, maybe.
Yeah. Until like they find him.
I think
like
so.
Wandering around. I feel like Harry Dean Stanton, Harry Dean Stockwell. He's like doesn't talk for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. But I guess I just want to say as like my little bit of credit. It's not that like it's not. I think that's the thing for me in general. Is like I feel like there's no genre or subgenre of film that I'm not interested in. Where it's like, oh, you're just not into that kind of movie. You're not into that. It's like, no, but I think there are filmmakers that maybe, and you know, this could maybe I'm jumping the gun too much, but I'm like, I think more it's like specifically to filmmakers, because it's not that I'm not into like this slow, moody cinema. But this one just didn't grab me in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say that like, I did like some of the shot compositions. I thought like, since there's like no camera movement, like basically at all, some of the staging was nice. Some of those like kind of empty shots were nice. It just like everything like was pleasant to look at for the most part. So like I didn't hate that, but I think
well,
I think in order for me to be, there's definitely like intention behind like all of the shots. It wasn't just like I'm just gonna show an empty house to be like moody and like, maybe someone making a movie now would like do that, like do like a derivative thing of that without really understanding like the motive behind it or like the reasoning behind it. They're just like kind of aping that style. I don't know. So it's like if you see a lot of like slow cinema now, maybe that's like what they go for. But I will say like I think the reason that it didn't really like super resonate with me was because of the subject matter and like that idea of just like, oh well, you got to get married not because I care about you and love you and like want you to be happy, but because that's what you're supposed to do. So you're gonna do it because it's like even his reputation is on the line. Like I feel like all of his friends are like, you have a 24-year-old daughter and she's not even married yet. Like, and it's like, oh, that's gonna reflect
like,
poorly on you.
Why do you care? Like, but that is totally like maintaining family honor and all that is very the subject matter definitely didn't help either.
I think my last note that I wrote was just like, I hate men. That's like the last thing that I wrote.
While I will say, again, I guess I said this already, that like I do think that it's like made well. At the same time, I'm like I was maybe this director had just been too like hyped up for me, where I was looking for like, I was like, what's the thing that makes this great, or like where's the great filmmaking in here, and I wasn't really seeing it. But you know, not that it was made poorly. It was made, it's fine. It's made well, but there wasn't anything in particular that wowed me. I guess, you know, like you said, maybe it's, some of the blocking, I guess. I will say I do love like the nighttime neon look of like this, or even better in the 80s. The Return of Godzilla. It's like 1985 Godzilla, and oh my god, like nighttime Tokyo in that movie looks so good. It's so good looking. I'm very into that sort of like washed out, almost pastel neon look of like the city life from like, you know, these like mid late century decades. I guess I did have a few more just random kind of one off, not super deep wells. There's the scene where they're at the bar. I think it's the first time he goes to the bar, and there's the guy who he sees there who was like, he was like in his regiment in the war or something like that. And he's like, "Oh, play the marching anthem," and then he plays it, and he like sings it, and he like does this, and he's like marching, and I guess that's like, I'm assuming that's like how they march, but like it was so silly how like he did that, and then like it would cut to the waitress, and she was like, and then they had their hands up like that, and then she would like look at the main guy, and he would be like, yeah, and then and then they like put their hands down, and then they put them back up and be like, it was very silly and hard to like, that kind of took me out of it, to be honest.
Man, it kind of seemed like he didn't want to do that. It seemed like he didn't have the same I guess cavalier attitude about like losing the war.
Yeah.
Which, you know, when this was made, this was like 20 years after World War II, so it was just like, I don't know, it's not that long ago that like the United States bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like it was pretty bad. But then I was also thinking like, oh damn, I bet old what's his face from the Emperor's Naked Army is like probably out there somewhere plotting. That dude is awesome.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. Oh man, yeah, that guy's great. Then it was almost, I think this was more a subtitle thing than anything, but sometimes it's like it's more confusing knowing a little bit of Japanese and watching a Japanese movie.
Oh.
Because there was a bit in particular where he said like can I take this or something like that, and she said ie, which is no, but the subtitle said sure. I was like, what? So I'm thinking it was just the subtitle thing, and maybe what he actually said in Japanese was more like, do you mind if I take this? And she was saying no.
Oh. Interesting.
But there was a couple moments where I was like, because I like to do that. I like to like, what words do I know here that I can, pick out of the sentences. And there was like a moment or two like that where it really like, and then like I probably like missed the next couple lines because I was like, what the fuck? What did they just say?
Yeah, there's always like a shorthand in other languages where it's like
right.
The captions are probably just kind of giving the gist of what they're saying, but it's not like a literal translation, because if it was a literal translation, it would probably be like clunkily worded.
Yeah, I know that's a thing.
Just like, because I know especially like in America, like English is like a totally like batshit weird language that there are all these rules that to a non-native speaker would be like, what is that? It sounds like you're like contradicting. Like someone who says like, oh no, yeah, no, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
like what? Which one is it? Just like these little filler phrases that we have would probably confuse the shit out of a non-native speaker.
Yeah, I try to be conscious of that too. Like, well, I just did it when I was kind of just going, yeah, right, yeah. To you, that I said right as like an agreement. Like I was going, yeah, right. But right also is a direction. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
So it could also be a thing like that. Like there could be words that just have two completely different meanings. But I, at least with my very limited knowledge, I should say, of the language, I'm like, I don't know. So sometimes it just makes it more hard to follow. Well, we're about an hour in. Do you want to jump to scores?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. I don't. I'll go. I don't turn, but I went with a 5. Just because I don't know. It was a thing where I was watching it and I was like I said, it was like it wasn't terrible to sit through because like I kind of was enjoying isolated conversations and other elements, but again, not connecting with the main crux of the plot or whatever, and just missing any sort of like great moments. So yeah, 5. I don't know. It felt right for me. So yeah,
I'm right around there. I think when I finished it, I was like, I think I landed on a 6. There were like things that I liked. Like I thought everything was like staged pretty well. The blocking was nice. Like like those scenes where they're at the bar, everything was like symmetrical. Like everyone was like perfectly centered.
Yeah.
It almost took me off guard, like the opening scene where like I was like, it's almost like they're looking directly into the camera. Like they're looking slightly away, looking at the person that they're like across from. But the whole like front, like just like front facing or whatever was very jarring at first. I wasn't used to that. But yeah, there's like little moments in this movie that I think captured my interest. Like his whole like disillusionment with like World War II and like that whole stuff I think might be more interesting to me. Just like the like this is like the old world and this is the new world that we live in. Like it, that's like an interesting topic. But like you said earlier, maybe it was considered like sort of progressive for its time, for its like, kind of questioning if you should send your daughter off to get married, like if you should even do it. The movie ultimately is like, yes, you should do that, I guess, but you'll feel really bad about it. that's the part that really like kind of limited my enjoyment, was just like I couldn't get over that cultural difference of like having to get married, having to have kids. You have to do this not because you want to, but because this is just what we do, and every one of my friends is going to judge me if you don't do it, so you have to do it. Couldn't really like super jive with that. So it's a well-made movie that maybe, if I watched it again and I was in the right mood, like I think I was watching this like on Tubi on my computer, and I think maybe that was probably not the optimal like viewing experience. Maybe I needed to be like silent in like a dark room with like a cup of sake and like really get in my feels about it.
It is on Max, which is, did you see, is being rebranded back again to HBO Max?
People who never called it only Max in the first place keep winning. I never called it Max. It was always HBO Max in my head. I win. That's literally like the first time I've ever referred to it as just Max, and that was just to make the differentiation there. Yeah. So stupid. Anyway, yeah, 6 for me.
Okay. All right. Transition. What do we want to start with? Did you finish Common Side Effect?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. What do we want to start? Do you want to start with that or Sinners?
Let's do it with Common Side Effects and then close out on Sinners.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I don't know if it remained. I don't know if it was still in the episode. We kind of teased it last week about Common Side Effects.
I left in what we talked about, both of them there. Yeah.
Okay.
That it's Scavenger's Rain guy, Mike Judge producing. It's I thought it was really good. I love the use of music. Characters are fun. There was a lot of like things that the characters would do that felt very real, I guess, to where I was like, it like feels like you're almost like watching real people. Just like little mannerisms, little like tics or whatever they do. It kind of made me think of like I had the same. Feels like a very wild pull, but Grave of the Fireflies. It's something I really like about that movie. Is there's a lot of just little things that the characters do that makes them feel like real people. That's a movie that I always think of when I think of that in animation.
Yeah. It's not a person, but the turtle, like the way that the turtle's eyes opened and closed.
I love the turtle, yeah.
I was like, that looks
Socrates, right?
Socrates. I was like, that looks anatomical. Like they have like the second eyelid and the way that they like one of those things where like if it was an animated, like a normal animated show, and this isn't to like detract from them, but it would just be like, blink. It would just be like they wouldn't take the time to like do those little intricate things
motion
that are yeah. Yeah, the music in the show was great. I really like the story, like the sort of like big pharma is evil, and like the basically like the old dude that's like, he's like, well, you can't create a miracle cure and give it away for free. And it's like he almost kind of had a point a little bit. I feel like he was talking about just like everyone will be in line wanting it, and then like people will fight wars over this shit. Like, and it's like, okay, that's a good point, but also like the pharmaceutical industry it's still evil. I don't know the solution. And I think the show doesn't really know the solution either. They're like trying to find that, like, do we give this miracle drug away? Do we charge people for it? Like, how do we manage that? And it does almost feel like kind of grounded in reality a little bit. Like, I think the magical cure-all, like you can get shot in the face, and if you eat a mushroom fast enough, like your brain will just regenerate. That's a little far-fetched, but like, I feel like down the road there could be some, drug that's produced maybe that like cures cancer like immediately. And then it would turn into like, well, is it a moral imperative to give this out for free? Do you charge people? Like, how do you handle that? Because like there's like the scene where it's him and it's after him and Hildy like reunite again, and they have like basically a little base camp, and there's people in line waiting to get in, and there's like a guy who's just like he has a cold and he wants it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's other people who's like, you know, has like childhood leukemia or something like that, and they're like, this guy's like, well, I'm waiting in line. I don't know. It's a lot of like moral questions and moral implications that I thought were really, and it did it in a funny way. The whole show is like very funny.
Yeah. It was a good blend of the like humor and the drama sides of things, whatever. Yeah, I think my my biggest gripe with the show is the human like character design. I don't like how they look. I don't like their like giant heads. That's I like it was a thing that like every episode I was like actively thinking of like how much I hated how everyone looked. The turtle looked great. I loved the turtle so much.
Yeah.
Other stuff looked fine, but I just hated how the people looked. Like you should just keep the art style, and I know it wasn't the same like the whole same team from Scavenger's Reign, but I'm just like just do that. Just make it look like that. That show looks good.
Yeah.
It had to have had some similar animators other than the main guy, because like whenever it would do the psychedelic stuff, like when they would like take the mushroom, it was it like the way that it would do that kind of like free form, like almost like dreamlike, like you'd see an object and it would morph into something else and it would, you know, get all like kaleidoscopic. That felt very Scavenger's Rainy. There's moments where that kind of stuff happens.
With the little white dude that pops out, like the sort of
the Kodamas
like representative. Yeah. Or like, are you familiar with Smiskies? They're these little guys. They're sort of similar to like Sunny Angels, if you know what those are. They're kind of like they're kind of like a riff on like the Cupid, like the Cupid doll, like the little naked boys.
Dude, none of these things are
none of these words. So I have a couple. There you get them a lot at like comic book shops. They're like these little blind bags. Like I've got.
Okay.
It's like one of like they come in various
I've never
poses
seen those before, but okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. Like they're like the big head proportions, like little humanoid figures.
Okay. They kind of reminded me of what's his name, Hollow, from Scavenger's Reign.
Okay.
One of the guys.
Yeah, and I did like how they were sort of like representative of the side effects of the drug, where like because like basically up until the end of the show, you don't really see any of that until then. You're just like, oh, this is just like a miracle cure that solves everything. But the show is called Common Side Effects. Yeah,
you kind of get some like quick like glimpses to it or whatever.
Yeah, or like her mom, who was essentially like kind of comatose. Like she wasn't asleep, but like she was like unresponsive, just like almost like dementia ridden. And he gives her the mushroom, and she kind of like wakes up. She calls her daughter, and it's like she comes out of the like her medically induced like whatever. But then it's like she sees the little guy in the tree, and so she like climbs the tree because she's just like, oh, I'm cured now, and she falls out of the tree and dies. So it's like, you know, that's like one of the side effects. It's just like her inhibition is kind of gone. She's just like, oh, well, whatever.
This little guy, I'm gonna go after him.
Yeah, the branch just snaps.
Yeah.
All those scenes were really cool with like the little guy, because that's like he would just kind of like do a little cartwheel and then tilt, and then he would fall over and then explode into like little colorful like pills and shapes. Yeah,
that also felt very like the Kodamas from Princess Mononoke, because they just, as they're like following them through the forest and stuff, they would do the like cartwheels and like like little kids just kind of like playing around with them or whatever. And then like I loved like where Jonas ends up with he's that like what, German Swiss or whatever, the the rich dude
Yeah,
who
he was doing the end of
shovels him in.
Men.
Yeah. yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah. That was really great. The horror aspect of it's pretty good.
Because I think that even when I was watching the show, when he got to the mushrooms, he ate one, and then he was just like, and I think I was like, no, don't do that, because he's just going and then it just like, yeah, he overloads and he like sees himself being born repetitively, like it's ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I hinted at this when we last talked, but the closing it on the Caribbean Blue, I'm like, if you like using Enya in like a proper like way, to me it's like transcendent. It's like I love that final montage with that song. This is a good song.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really loved that ending. Yeah, like all the sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say regarding like the ending, I don't remember the last time I watched a show that clearly ended in a way that like indicated there was going to be another season, or like, because I feel like a lot of shows these days they don't know if they're ever going to get picked up again, and so they'll end their season in a way that's like, well, there could be more, right, but also if we get canceled or if we don't get picked up for another season, this could work as a finale. But this ending for this show was like, there has to be another. There's so many open-ended things, and I feel like it was done that way, like with intention. Like there needs to be more told to this story. And like I don't know. I guess it's like refreshing to see a show that has like a forward momentum where like they know, maybe they know what they want to do, they know what they want to say, they know the story that they want to tell.
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, that is a kind of a frustrating thing with a lot of shows these days. What was I gonna say? There was things like, where it would kind of, I liked how often it kind of, I guess, subverts your expectations about certain like characters, like the way that I'm thinking, especially the like the redneck family, like with the sheriff, like they kind of just, they're like, they team up with them more or less. They start helping out with the camp, and they fight back against the like the government raids or whatever. And you would think that
motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
You'd think that, I don't know, initially I was like, oh, these guys are gonna like, they're gonna be like a wrench in their system, and they're gonna cause something like bad to happen. But just because of, your preconceived notions, I guess, with those kind of like character archetypes in stuff. So it was kind of cool to just see them be kind of like guys. They were just, I kept waiting for like the moments where they were like going over to their house, or they would come over to theirs, and they'd be like, hey, what are you guys doing here? And then they're going to be like, oh, we're going to,
you're going to cut us in on
arrest
this.
You guys. Yeah. That thing. But like that, like never happened. And that was nice. And then the way that the two agents' storylines kind of like would veer and meet back up and stuff was really interesting.
Yeah.
That was cool.
They were great. I liked like they also loved music. Like I feel like they were, I was like, as an audience person, like watching this, like the songs are great, and it's cool to have like a character on there that's just like, like the first time you meet the two like DEA agents or whatever, they're like just in the car, and they're both just like just jamming out to like some sort of like it's like some 70s like.
It was Harry Belafonte.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
It might have been Jump in the Line.
Okay.
Jump in the line, rock your body in time. Okay. I don't remember if it was that one or not.
And then there's like that scene later where like they get pulled from the case, and the two get like sent their separate ways, and they're with their like separate like new partners,
Yeah.
and neither of them. The one guy's just like, I don't like music, and he shuts it off.
Yeah.
And the guy's just like,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it did a good job of I like makes you you get invested in characters from all the different angles of the it's not like they're just like the bad guys because they're the agents that are hunting the main guys. They're their own
Right.
thing. And I even like initially I thought Rick was gonna be like basically what Jonas turned out to be, but I really liked his trajectory of like it felt like he was, I guess, trying to do the right thing most of the time, but he was still looking at it from like that capitalistic like viewpoint, and then he ends up where he ends up is the very like capitalistic endpoint version of it. But like I don't want to say that it was like a tragic way for his storyline to like go down, but it felt very natural and just not like one note. It wasn't just like, well, yeah, I'm gonna do this because I need money. It's like that was an aspect of it, but he was a little more like nuanced than that. I thought they brought a lot of like depth to a lot of characters. That way.
It was very funny that he ends up just like, well, we can't get this mushroom to work, but it tastes great. So like, which, the way that this show deals with like loose threads and like little things that like seem inconsequential and might be more consequential. I mean, I could totally see like the whole seasoning powder of the mushroom like having an adverse react. Like, I don't know, there's just there's a lot of different ways that they could go with it. Because like, doesn't it end with like Hildy like also putting the mushroom tincture like into the water supply?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. There are so many like threads that the show just like put out there like in the finale where you're like, I need to know what happened.
Yeah, that was I kind of forgot about that until you said that. But yeah, so there's the main two that are still trying to do their thing with like the mushroom itself, its healing properties and whatnot, and then there's Hildy with the tincture in the water because she thinks that's the right thing to do. And then Rick with the spray, and like any one of those things could like, I don't know, do something. It does leave it at a very interesting point, and I'll be very interested to see. I don't know where the show goes from there.
Yeah.
And we also watched Sinners, the new Ryan Coogler movie. And we both liked it.
It was
I saw your reviews. So
did you see it twice, or have you only seen it the one time?
I only saw it once. I'm planning on. I've been trying to make plans with Ethan to see it, so we're gonna see it before the theater loses it, but we just haven't got around to it yet. Maybe this weekend. But I want to. Yeah, I want to see it again in theaters for sure. It was great.
Yeah. I thought it was terrific. There were so many like, I don't know, cool ideas. Just I don't know. There's a lot of talk of like intellectual property or whatever, and it was like so nice to see just like a completely original movie just like dominate. Like it did really, really well. Because I remember seeing trailers for it ahead of like other movies, and I really didn't think much of it from the trailers, and maybe it's because the trailer like didn't give everything away. I was not sure what it was going to be, and I was just like, I don't know, that just seems like a generic
The first
movie.
trailer doesn't. The second trailer gave it away that it's I don't usually do this just because like we don't have a big I don't know, but I care about this movie, and I think that if you can go into it blind, that would be cool. So we're gonna spoil the movie, just for anybody listening, because if you could go into this completely blind, it'd be so cool. But yeah, the second trailer does totally give it away that they're vampires. I remember at the first trailer, I was like, oh, I really like how little information that gives you. They're like, okay, something's going on. They're like they're monsters or something. But I was like, are they zombies? Are they are they vampires? Are they something else?
Does it show Haley Steinfeld in like the first trailer with her eyes like that?
Yeah, I mean, it does we're gonna kill every last one of you or whatever. You see like that line, and then I think the main guy, you see him with teeth and stuff, and yeah, I think I saw the trailer and I was like, I wasn't like 100% sold, but I was like, okay, I like the setting, I like Michael B. Jordan, I like Ryan Coogler, I think is great. Like I'm not a huge fan of Black Panther, but his non-Marvel movies I think are pretty great. And yeah, this felt like more like I will say more so than I have ever thought since I watched Black Panther. Watching this movie, I was like, maybe I need to watch Black Panther again, because like again, other than those, like Ryan Coogler is fucking great. Like Fruitvale Station is awesome. Creed is really good too, and then yeah, Sinners was great. He's a really really solid director, really good filmmaker, I think.
Yeah. God, why am I drawing a blank on like all the things that I wanted to say about this movie?
I mean, I can keep going. I was trying.
There were like two key scenes, or at least one, that's like, that I guess you could call it a meme. It's like that meme format where there's like the guy sitting in the chair, and then he like leans up and like leans forward. It's kind of like one of those like,
or the Vince McMahon like.
Yes. The moment, I'm not sure if you had a moment like that where like you sort of like leaned into your chair and you were like, I'm locked in. There was one in particular.
I mean, there were a lot of scenes that I loved in the movie.
It's when Sammy's playing this song.
It's the one that everybody
As soon as like the like Bootsy Collins surrogate like P-Funk Funkadelic guy walks in with like the flying V guitar and like the star glasses, I was like, hold up, what is happening? And it like transcends, like it shows like the past and the future all combined. Like there's like DJs, there's like hip hop guys, there's like funk guys, there's like Aboriginal, like tribal, like singers, all of it just like coming together. And then like other people have made this point, but like literally a barn burner. The barn like burns down and opens up. And it's like you see them all just like in there, like communing with each other, and like holy shit, when it does that push in on the three like vampires.
Yes, and dude, that's so fucking good. I loved that.
And he just has that smile where he's just like, look what I found you.
Yes.
Oh.
That was such a cool way to like the scene was cool, but I love that it like brought it around to that. Like that was like where it ended, was like going in on like, okay, now they're here, and like it was such a cool way where you're like, I felt like it knew like exactly what it was doing, where he starts the song and you're like, okay, all right, cool, and then like all the people start showing up and they're like, whoa, what? And it's like it's a oneer. You're like, oh, this is fucking crazy. They're doing this all one take. There's so much shit going on, and then the thing burns down, and you're like caught up in this moment of like ecstasy, and then you see the guys standing out there, and it's like completely gone. You're like, oh fuck, yeah, that was awesome. There was a lot of good like shots, and in particular with the bad guy. I love the way that he enters the movie by like falling out of the sky or whatever, and he's like covered in dust, or no, well he's smoking because it's sunny or whatever. Yeah, that's it. And it's funny that he like shows up and they got the gun on him. He's like, no, please, the Indians are chasing me, they want to kill me and whatever, but like they actually were, but it's because they know that he's a vampire and they're trying to kill him. But the people there are racist or whatever, so they're just like, get off our property, and they're not like listening to them or whatever.
Yeah, he like sees the clan and he's just like, oh, okay, I can work with this. Like
yeah.
They're like, these guys will be sympathetic to my cause because they're like terrible racists.
Yeah. Yeah.
The scene that the scene that Chloe really liked, and is also another good scene, is like the big like dance number, like the Irish jig, where
Yes,
like
dude. Yeah,
he's
I knew I was forgetting one. Yeah. And then it like pushes in on him at the end as he's like everybody's like surrounding him. I'm just like, oh,
oh
he just wanted people to tell him that his music was good. Like that's all he really wanted.
yeah, it's been like circulating around online because people have been like filming clips in the theater, which don't do that, whatever. But the scene when like they first try to get in, and like I think either Smoke or Stack or one of them says like, "Y'all with the clan," and the way that his face, he's like, "Sir," it's like we are not racist, but it's just like the way that he's just
yes, you are.
The
He's
other
not,
thing that I love,
he turns people of all races, so maybe he's not racist.
yeah, there's like because
or he's
I
just
think,
old time racist because I think he's shoot, is there? Well, I think the idea is that he's actually like he's a vampire, so I think he's like pretty old because I don't know if they explicitly say it, but like he's Irish, and I think he's from Ireland and like had an Irish accent like when
yeah,
he was born as a human, but he's been living as a vampire in America for so
right.
long that he's just kind of adapted and changed. Because you hear his Irish accent like slip through a couple
Mhm.
times, and then obviously
Ye-
he's doing the jig and stuff, and
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I think you could look at this and be like, oh, another movie where like the white man is the bad guy trying to steal the music and oppress black people, Jim Crow South, like in the American South.
mm-hmm.
But there was like an interesting point that he made. I don't know, like the way he's like talking to them, and he's just like, those Klansmen would have just come here and killed you anyway. So like, why don't you just like liberate yourselves and be free with all of us? And I'm like, it's like he's a vampire, so he's saying whatever he can to try to convince them to do it. But also like, I don't know, he's almost like, yeah, it's like that point that people are, well, the Irish were slaves too, and it's like, oh, slavery it happened to white people too, blah blah, blah. But but he's just like, look, you and I have like a common cause. Of course, I mean he's a slimy vampire trying to get him to turn. But I was like, I thought it was like a sort of a nuanced way of doing that.
No, it is a cool way to a cool angle to go about that like that subject matter or whatever. And
It wasn't like
like,
one dimensional, like Get Out, where the Stephen Root character was just like, I want your eyes. Like, I'm going to implant your brain into my head.
Yeah. But I will say, I think that like I also think the idea with that, and like why they, I mean, other than they just don't want to be turned into vampires, that's scary or whatever. But I think also the idea with that is he's like, why do you want to, like, they're gonna kill you, whatever, why not just give in? But then it's like, if they did that, they still wouldn't be their own person. It's made explicitly clear that all the vampires that like he turned are like, like when he's in pain, they feel pain.
Yeah.
They would be his slaves. That's the idea, is like, if he turns them, then it's like and that's what the whole thing is about. So he's like, he's not racist like how the Klansmen are, and maybe he's not looking at it from like a race perspective, but it's like, but that is what it is. And it's like, you are turning people into your vampire slaves, a different kind of slave, but it's still the same thing. And he comes back to like at the end where you get like the credit sequence with old Sammy, which really just like was such an unexpected but such an amazing way to end the movie. Like that really, like when you get to that, I was like, what is this? He's old. And I was like, oh, they're still alive. I was like, this is kind of, there was like a moment where I was like, what are they doing with this? But then like their conversation was so, I was surprised how like this got me emotionally, because like the part where I like that they come back and they're not. I think which really shows that the main guy, I think his name is Remick or something,
Yeah.
the main bad guy, was like maybe he actually was like purely evil, because when they show up later, they're like, they're still vampires, but they're civil. They're like, hey, my
Right.
brother spared my life and he told us to stay away from you, and they did. They stayed away from him.
Yeah.
And when they come to him, they're presenting him like, we can turn you, you're gonna die soon. We can turn you and you can live a lot longer. So they're even like they're not evil, right? They're just vampires now.
They could just do it. He's an old man. They could just do it and change him right there.
They ask him and
they
he
still
says
like
no.
give him the option. Yeah.
And it's almost like their old selves. I don't remember what she says, but like Haley Steinfeld's like, she's like, it was good seeing you, Sammy, or something like that. And it feels, but anyway, there's the part where he says the vampire at the end, he's like, do you still think about that night or something? And he's like, or something like that. And he's like, but hey, before all that shit went down, that was the greatest night of my life. And then he's like, because for a few hours, it was ours. Like, we had something that was our own. And I was like, God damn, that really fucking hit me. Like, really hit me. And that, and then also the part where Smoke and Stack are fighting at the end when like everything's burning down. And dude, when he says he's like got Stack, who's the vampire. Yes.
Mhm.
He's got him and he's like gonna stake him, and he says, I was supposed to protect you. And he said, you did. And oh man, I'm getting chills thinking about it. There's so many good like moments like that.
Dude, for me, when he says like, it was the last time I got to see the sunset with my brother, and it shows the two of them
too.
as the
yeah shit, that was good too. Yeah.
I'm bummed that I didn't see it in IMAX, because apparently
cool, yeah.
I think it's like after like they're fighting in the water, and I think it might be right after he like sort of like bests Remick, he like hits him with the guitar, and they're all just like, because like the silver or whatever.
Yeah.
I think at that point in the movie, at least in IMAX, it changes aspect ratios.
Oh, interesting.
Like it's like letterboxed like this, and I think like when it cuts to them like it's like the main, it's like one of the big shots. It's like promotional. It's them like kind of huddled together in the water.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
know the one you're
the
talking
letterbox like opens wide like when that moment happens, which I don't know. I think that would be really, really cool to see. And I did see that Steven Coogler said that Ryan Coogler said that like when the movie gets released, I think that'll be in like the Blu-ray.
Oh, cool.
So, like it's gonna do that. I don't know. It sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I also like that scene was almost like a baptism. Like, I mean, it's obviously that's what it like when Remick was like because he does the Lord's Prayer, and like that scene, like Jack O'Connell is so great.
Yeah,
like,
dude, he fucking rocked. He's so fucking good in them. I loved him. And yeah, he's
but
great.
It's like when Sammy's doing the Lord's Prayer, and then like he finishes it for him, and he's like,
yeah, that's where that's where he like scratches his face or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like, but I think he said something like, it's like, before I turned, like I used to say those words all the time. It never did anything for me, but it brings me comfort still. And then he's just like basically saying like, you can pray all you want, but it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And then he's just like dumping him underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, the other moment, he's also like very, very funny. Like he's like a kind of whimsical, like trickstery. But like when they're in the like the roof and everything's like going to shit and they're trying to escape, and he just flies up and he's like, Sammy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so great.
I love. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say the minor characters too, like you got like Smoke and Stack and you got Sammy, but like all of the other characters I thought were great too. Like, I think his name, Delroy Lindo. I love him. He's
I love Delroy Lindo. Yeah.
But I think maybe my favorite side character, he's not in it a shit ton, but he sure is memorable, is cornbread.
Cornbread. Yeah, I wonder if he goes. Yeah.
When they're like at that, he after he's been turned and he's trying to get back in.
Yeah.
He's like, well, aren't you gonna invite me in? And they're like, you've been in and out of here all day long, and no one's ever invited you in. And then he's like, well, you know what? I don't want it to get in the way of like what we're supposed to be doing. And Delroy is like, well, what is it that we're supposed to be doing? And he's like, being kind to one another.
Yeah.
And there's like another like quick shot of him when they're all doing the Irish jig where cornbread is just like, like going ape shit, just like dancing his ass off to this Irish jig.
That's
like,
how you
all
know
the
they're
minor
like
characters
mind
are so great.
That's how you know they're mind controlled, because they're all like really into that jig. I love it. Was so cool having a vampire movie where like for a lot of the vampire action, which I mean they don't even show up at the place until halfway through the movie maybe or something. But then like most of their time there, it's centered around a vampire rule that most vampire movies don't even acknowledge, is that they have to be invited in. And it was so cool seeing them like that's like the main thing, is them just trying to get admitted. And like normally they probably would have been cool, but it was like, well, they're white, so we're not suspicious of you because we think you're vampires, obviously. We're suspicious of you because you're white, so no, you can't come in. And like it kind of just well, you know, we play music, we're not racist, and just
I did like their songs though. I thought all of their songs were great. They were very pretty.
Yeah, I thought like all the music, like all Sammy's stuff was great. It's almost like it's almost a musical, really. It's like a pseudo musical. And the only difference is between most musicals is like the music was good in this one.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to Ludwig. A lot of people are starting to like wake up to him as like a composer. But because I mean, he won an Academy Award for Oppenheimer. I think he did.
No,
did he not win it?
No, I think he won it for Black Panther.
Oh, I thought Oppenheimer won Best Score as well.
Did he do the music for Oppenheimer?
Yeah, Ludwig did.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, then maybe that's very probable that one.
Yeah, because like I think Oppenheimer kind of made him more known, but like Sinners, like Ludwig is going to be like a big like in demand composer now, and rightfully so, because like the music in this, like Smoke and Stack's theme, like that sort of like, I don't know, the way that, because like the beginning of the movie, you kind of have this like guitar part that's like pretty much playing underneath like the entire time, but then when like certain scenes or like certain characters show up, like little elements change. Like I think with Smoke and Stack, like there's just like little harmonica bit that kind of comes in whenever one of them like walks into the screen or like does something. I don't know, it's like the music was like a character of itself, where like it kind of changed and it adapted to like certain scenes. Going back to what you're saying about the vampires being let in though, that was there are so many good push-ins on Remick, but the other one that I really liked was when the Chinese woman, that sounds so bad when I say it like that. I forget her name, but like she's kind of lost her husband, she's kind of lost everything. She's like she's just like, who gives a shit, when she does the like, come on in, y'all motherfuckers, or whatever. There's another one where I feel like Remick is almost just like standing like this, and he like looks and he's just like, like finally. Like, all those shots of him, like those pushes in on him, are like, I loved them.
That was something I wanted to bring up too. The one thing that kind of bugs me about that, and like, okay, sure, in the moment, but like they had a daughter, and like now she's an orphan, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I did see I did see a Letterboxd review that made me think of like a Nick Mullen Cumtown bit, but it was when Remick speaks like perfect Mandarin to her. And someone, there was like a Letterboxd review that was like, speak a little Chinese for him. She's like, that Irish man just spoke perfect Mandarin to me. Like, this is wrong. Something is wrong.
Yeah, it looks like Ludwig won. Yeah, so he's won 2 for Black Panther and Oppenheimer.
Damn.
And he's scored all of Ryan Coogler's movies. I actually didn't know that. But that's cool. One other thing that I wanted to. Oh yeah, I also like that it almost had like a Lord of the Rings ending where there was like 3 endings. It felt like there was like, you know, the day ends and, you know, the vampires are all dead, and then you get the thing with Sammy going back to his dad's church, and then you go back to Smoke at the place and all the races show up and you're like, fuck yeah. It's like it's Breaking Bad ending. With like the Nazis showing up and him machine gunning all of them. That was awesome. And also another good like emotional bit where he sees his girlfriend or wife or whatever with their baby, and good.
Yes. Okay. Speaking of that, the only other like I guess nitpick or thing that I didn't love, and I think this is mostly like things that get added into the movie to like maybe explain to the audience what's going on, but there were a lot of times where it would flash back to things just, and I'm like, I know you don't have to do this.
Yeah there's a couple
like it would flash back to him like putting the flowers by the gravesite of the baby, and it's like, no, we don't, you don't. And
I agree.
To me, that's just like, I have to put that in there because audiences are dumb and like need stuff like spoon fed to them a little bit.
The big one for me, just because otherwise the scene was like so, it just got like the scene with Sammy and the song and the one shot or whatever. Before it starts, the people start showing up or whatever. You hear Delroy. Yeah, it doesn't flash back, but you hear Delroy. It's audio from earlier in the movie where he's like, some people have their music transcends the boundaries of life and death or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was one where I, like, just for a little bit, that kind of, I wish that wasn't in there, because otherwise that scene is so like good and so, you know, it wraps you up into it. And that little bit, I was like, okay, all right. So yeah, there was a couple of those little moments.
Yeah. But otherwise
great.
Man.
Otherwise, that's my, you know, first great movie of the year. Definitely my favorite of the year so far.
Do you think it's going to get any Oscars buzz?
It's tough to say. Because, I mean, us, like Ryan Coogler has gotten, you know, like Black Panther was nominated for a few, but I'm like, that's one that I don't think should have been. This one, I think that'd be so cool. Score, come on, gotta get score, cinematography.
Score for sure. I think
know
Michael B. Jordan and Jack O'Connell could both be up for like either supporting.
That
or
could be
best
really
actor.
cool. Yeah, that could be really cool. It's also a case of like the Academy just having a super short memory span, and they usually go for movies that are released later in the year.
Yeah.
That's why in like the fall and winter you see, that's where all of like, you know, like last year, like Wicked was released in December, Complete Unknown was December. I already forgot all the other movies that were nominated.
Yeah.
But generally that's when a lot of like award season movies, they get released like right then. And, you know, Challengers came out around this time last year and it got completely snubbed.
No.
So this is going to be this year's Challenger or next year's Challenger.
God, I hope not. I don't know. I feel like there's enough buzz.
There could be. No, yeah.
It's like, I would be very surprised if the Academy just like ignored it. Like it should be up for at least a few categories.
At least some of those technical ones. I think, I for sure think score, considering Ludwig already has 2 Oscars, like that's they also tend to nominate people they have nominated before.
Yeah.
So I could fully see that. Yeah, it'd be cool if I fully think directing would be 100% deserved. But that's another one that they tend to reserve for, like, it's got to get Best Picture, it's got to get a lot of other ones. Yeah, I would be really surprised if it got completely shut out. But I'm not holding my breath for like a Best Picture nomination or anything like that.
Yeah.
Even if I would think that it would be deserved or whatever. And still a lot of the year left. We'll see what else there is, but
Yeah, as of right now, it's like front runner for like my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah.
There's a few coming out that I'm really excited for. Zach Kreger's Weapons.
Yeah. That's one.
That trailer is like so unnerving.
Yeah, that looks,
and like all the promotional material that like they were like posting clips of like the kids running on like security camera footage. Everything about that is like so unnerving, and yeah, I loved Barbarian, so excited for that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few. So yeah, I guess, I mean, I would be surprised if Sinners got pushed out of like my like top 10 of the year. I'd be very if there's 10 movies better than this movie this year, that'll be an amazing year for movies.
Yeah, we're eating good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna have a couple of my friends from an old fan group from Tumblr days. This is old school shit. And we're gonna talk about the Battle Royale movies. First one's directed by Kinji Fukasaku. From 2000. Second one is 2003, I think, and it's credited to Kinji and his son Kenta Fukasaku, but I think it's mostly all Kenta because Kinji died like right after they started filming the second one. I think what I remember is like he filmed like a scene or two, but everything else is his kid. Yeah, we're gonna do those. So the next episode will be the first one, and then the week after is gonna be our dud week, and we're gonna do the second one.
Okay.
I just figured I would just announce them both here, because whatever. Yeah, no. I like doing those. We've done it a couple times. I don't think we've done one in a while, but our little like back to back, like we did like Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad, and then we did Jack Frost and Jack Frost, and
God, I forgot about that. Yeah,
kind of be like doing that again. Yeah, and so we'll have a couple guests on. Hopefully we don't shut Nick out. I warned them already. I'm like, okay, we can talk about nerd shit, but there is going to be somebody who's not like a battle royale nerd on the show. So
I'm willing to be educated and just to bask in it.
Okay,
and I'll interject when I can.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled for those, watch them before the next episode, and then for the episode after that. These episodes come out on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, I wish I could remember what he said exactly. Trying to do it where the gourds. I'm sorry for being drunk all the time. That's why I don't know. He said something kind of funny there. I can't remember what it was. And with me as always, I'm TJ. With me as always.
As always, I'm gonna go buy some Sapporo. I'm gonna go find some.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm Nick.
Come by. All right. Bye-bye.